I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
And we are Autosave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Chainsaw Man, Season 1, Episode 7. Today, one of two things will happen, if not both, but I think one has more of a chance of happening than the other.
So what's the first one?
Denji, aka the Chainsaw Man, defeating the Eternity Devil.
Okay. And the second?
Power getting a Nobel Peace Prize by the end of this episode.
Ooh.
I'm going to lean with that one.
I'm leaning toward the second one actually happening.
Yeah.
It seems just like way more realistic. It seems to be the direction that the story is headed.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's a very noble goal of hers.
Okay. But I wonder what they're going to do for this fight. Is this going to be a very straightforward action type of sequence like we've seen so far? Because that's kind of like the feel of this show for me, right? Like, oh, like I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to like say like rev it up and then just go for it type of action rather than something like Jujutsu Kaisen, which is more like domain expansion, like power, you know?
Maybe a little bit
It's
more
in your
thinking
face.
might need to be involved with this Eternity Devil. I mean, when I imagine Eternity, it is very much what we saw at the very end of the last episode, where he basically is just falling and falling and falling and falling. And I'm kind of like, yes, the Eternity Devil seemed to be wary of Chainsaw Man, and maybe that is a good thing, and maybe the chainsaws will immediately shred the Eternity Devil up. But I feel like with that emotional buildup with Aki there at the end, that I feel like this needs to be more than just Denji falls down and then like completely wrecks the Eternity Devil by himself in just an all-out brawl.
Well, that's a good point. Is there going to be any help, I guess, from the team that has, one, tried to kill Denji, or two, just, you know, been around? If Aki is injured in a way that takes power out of the equation too, because power's kind of tending to the wound, does that mean this is when Himeno comes in and we get to see their power?
I mean, Himeno really just got emotionally wrecked.
Yeah.
At the end there, I mean, we've gotten this character established as one of her main lines, reoccurring lines, being telling Aki not to die on her.
Yeah.
And now she's seeing that her wariness of letting him get too involved in this has now caused him to get stabbed and possibly gravely injured.
Yeah.
And she might realize that she needs to prioritize the mission and getting rid of devils. And honestly, in a roundabout way, doing exactly what Aki wants her to do, which is, this is our job. I want us to think about the smartest and best way for us to defeat these devils.
Yeah. I wonder, I know it's way too early for this, but power scaling wise, how like the ghost hand would fare against like the Chainsaw Man. Like you know,
I mean, like power couldn't touch it. So
on the first attempt, at least,
could her blood touch it?
I wonder like who is stronger than who if it's not as simple as that, and it goes to what each, you know, devil you're up against, because that kind of feels like it's, I don't know.
There could be like good matches.
Yeah.
Or bad matches.
I don't know. I'm excited. I liked seeing what Eternity looks like in a fight, because I think they could go a lot of directions.
It could, because the last
infinite
fights,
amount of ways.
right?
Yeah,
an infinite amount of ways. That's good. All the other fights we've seen have been like a very real object and or animal.
Yeah.
So this will be definitely different. We got creativity when we saw how the Blood Devil, how that power is used, and how fighting the Blood Devil would be like. So I'm excited.
There's no shortage of a pool to choose for a type of devil, but it's how they use that chosen type that's the best thing about the show so far.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
I completely forgot that we were turned around.
All right. Damn. It's just going for it, you know? Whoa. Oh!
This is pointless?
Whoa.
Why are they acting like they know him?
Yeah. Whew. Okay, so like the left and right headphone, when it comes to the screaming and the soundtrack, it's so interesting. It's like, I feel like I'm in Denji's position and I'm surrounded. It's so cool.
One of the benefits of wearing headphones. When you first start the show, you almost forget that none of the characters knew what really was meant by Denji's character and Chainsaws except Makima. And each of them are getting an introduction into it. And I mean, they're all clearly shocked.
I wonder if this was written before or after Mugen Train, because like, what if this dude saw Mugen Train and was like, I want to do that, but like go 20 plus in age and just go all out, blood, I don't give a fuck, you know? Like metal, screamo.
I love the angles we're getting.
Eating its blood? Hell yeah!
Loosening the screws a bit every day. And if he finds the gun devil, he needs to be prepared.
Have people with him who are prepared.
Have some crazy people with him.
Yeah, you'd probably be most helpful to him if you did have a few screws loose, right?
She tried to leave?
Wow.
Oh my god, she stayed for him.
Oh!
Himeno's gonna do something.
Yes!
Stop!
Oh. Look at her blushing. Has he been fighting it this entire time?
Stop! 3 days! Aw, she misses Meowie.
Holy shit. It didn't take him 3 days to beat it. He wanted to be there for 3 days.
自由の悪魔の肉片も取れたし、クソした後みてえな気分だぜ。浮いてるみてえだ。
You are now very precious to her.
続けてたからね。残り2人で今回のことを報告しに行って
I think they want to go home.
4課全員集まったことないしさ、親睦を深めつつ今抱えている問題をなくしましょうよ。
Like a little bit of a time skip?
小紅ちゃんと新井くんが公安辞めるっつってんだよね。
I
彼
mean,
が怖くなっただけじゃなく、デンジ君を殺そうとしちゃって悔いて
I mean, that's fair.
姫野先輩も殺そうとしてたじゃないですか。
ねえ。小紅ちゃんたちを引き止められるでしょ。
あんた飲みたいだけだ。
just a small piece like that? How does he pinpoint that?
Needle in a haystack.
どうせ飲むなら牧間さんと飲みたい。デンジが悪魔に狙われた件で応援求めに行くらしい。
Reinforcements.
だから飲むなら今週がいい。
デンジ君って何者だと思う？相手の悪魔がデンジ君のこと知ってたみたいだし、あんな姿も初めて見たよ。一番謎なのが、あのマキマさんがデンジ君に気にかけてる。デンジ君の秘密を知ってるからなのか。
So
マキマさんの
unsettling.
聞いてみようか。
Whoa, what a cut.
There's a few people we don't recognize.
刺身は全部わしな。
なこれ。うまそう。
道に迷っちゃって。コベちゃん、コベちゃん。
Kobe.
マキマさんを
Her outfit's cute.
Yeah. Like how Power's just stabbing it.
取れな盗人。唐揚げは全部わしのじゃ。
フシさんとこの魔人は連れてこなかったんですか。ここに
Fushi?
怖くて連れてこられないですね。
He has a fiend?
Yeah.
How reasonable yours is.
I need to
Hayakawa.
meet Fushi.
読める感じが少ねえ。
You know, that never occurred to me that he didn't have an education.
キスの件を。
シラフじゃ恥ずかしいからさ、もっと酔ったらしてあげる。いいやつかましてやるからさ。
ああ、もう超許すよ。超。
新人歓迎会なんだから新人は立って自己紹介
Oh my god, I am so excited.
年齢と契約してる悪魔言え
The devil you're contracted with.
俺デンジ。年は確か16。趣味は食うのと。やば、バカ。
あんた酒飲んでないよね。
お茶。
私は新井宏和です22歳契約している悪魔はキツネ趣味は
Another with the
Also?
Fox Devil.
ハヤパイと契約してる悪魔同じじゃん。
Hiya, Captain.
悪魔が人間に言う。
Friendly toward
た
humans.
くさんのデビルハンターと契約して。
キツネの頭はイケメンしか使えないんだよ。あの悪魔、面食いだから。
That
She's
means
down
Aki's
bad.
hot.
20
And?
です。秘密で
Secret.
趣味は美味しいものを食べること。
服かわいいよね。
Yes.
それをフシさんとこの新人は
8 sisters, and they only care about one brother going to school.
Are all 8 of them working to afford school for him?
下教
そんな簡単に死ぬんですか。
民間で無理だった悪魔が公安に任されるからな
まあ晩
Too tough.
私の同期ももう公安にいないしデンジ君は私とキスしたいから死なないもんね
ここにいる新人以外みんな姫野にキスされてるよ逃げられねえからな
確定キスじゃん。
Score.
今日ファーストキスしちゃうんだ。
Okay. Oh my god!
Oh, now he can't do it.
I think he'd still take it.
本物のマキマさん初めて見た
Really?
What?
誰かとキスするの
しません。
キスしないの
So both.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
生もう一つそれでキスって
姫野さんとキスするとか、マキマさんに見られたくない。でも同じくらい強い気持ちで、やっぱりベロキスしたい。
Ooh, this is a real tough one. This is the hardest thing he's ever had to deal with.
前までこんな速いペースで肉片を持つ悪魔は現れませんでした。
Is it cause of Denji?
They're after the
Yeah.
Chainsaw Devil.
最近少し悪魔の
It
が
ha-
怪しいです。
But why?
マキマさんはデンジのこと。
私より飲んだら教えてあげる
He hasn't had anything to drink in a long time. Oh my gosh. I don't think anyone can outdrink her.
すいません生
What devil does she have a contract with? The alcohol devil?
私は IQ が高いからの
IQ で決まるのそういうの
100?
100って高いの
じゃあ120じゃ
高いんだよね確か
134でした。
わざわざ覚えてるあたり自慢に思ってそう
わしは確か500じゃった
Uh-huh.
おや
Oh, that look!
マキマさんに見られたこの感触がした気持ちいい柔らかい柔らかいなんだこれ口の中でとろけてるぞ舌じゃないゲロだ
トラウマだなこりゃ
That is traumatic!
まずいぞこれはまずいぞデンジは口に入れない栄養になるものを飲み込む癖があるんだ
Is that the end of the episode?
これ食えそうだぜ見ろ落ちたゲロ食うなんて信じられねえよな同じ哺乳類として情けねえぜ
姫の先輩には自制心が足りないんだ。
I'm really interested that Arai is there comforting puking Denji.
明かせるの前
Did you see that face?
Yeah,
帰りの酔った母さんをよく解放して
There's a warmth now.
羨ましいだとこっちやよファーストキスはゲロの味だぜそれを羨まし
that might have been one of the most traumatic things to ever happen to me while watching anime.
人のお金で飲むお酒が一番美味しいですねデンジ君は
デンジ君なら姫の先輩が背負って連れて行きましたよ。
暗い暗いそういえばゲロ女にゲロキスされたんだちくしゃー水
よデンデンデンジ君なんで私ん家にいんの私が連れてきたんだって
For you here, he was on her back.
そういや君マキマさんのことラブでしょ
ラクラする
あんなクソ女やめときゃいいのにマキ君もあんな照れちゃってさ牛しちゃう
Oh, it's Pixel.
This
Stop.
is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, we're seeing the translation. What will you do? Fight? Special item? It's so cool. Be kept or be killed. That is the outfit that Kobeni was wearing tonight.
That might have been the best thing I've ever seen. Okay, that was Chainsaw Man, Season 1, Episode 7. That was a roller coaster, man.
That was a episode surprise. That was a surprise episode. There were things in that episode that were a surprise.
Yes.
The best way to put it. There were things that I did not ever see coming.
This has got to be one of the most unique anime or stories that I've seen 7 episodes in. They are doing so much to put to differentiate themselves from the norm that I am used to, at least, and I love it. I think it's making it so this show has a very special place in my heart. Like it's like kind of growing in its own little like subsection I didn't know that was there before.
This is the most mature that I've seen of a show in a similar genre to this.
Yes.
I think I appreciate feeling like it's meant for me and like my age or maturity level or appropriate, for maybe an older audience and funnier maybe to an older audience. There's some things I feel a little weird about after this episode though.
But breaking the fourth wall a little bit, like I talk to you all the time about how personally it's so hard to find a story that has like the hype and action of a regular anime that I would watch, or like, things that would fall into this type of genre. But it just doesn't go to the mature level. It doesn't have enough like actual blood or gore or even nudity in the sense, or mature different types of interactions, like whether they regard to like sexual interactions or not. And this is probably one of the first times I've ever experienced it. Granted, I'm very sheltered when it comes to anime.
You have been looking for something that felt more mature.
Yeah.
But with still the same fun, still the same action, characters to root for and get behind. But, maybe a little more gory, a little more gruesome.
A little more unpredictable.
A little more unpredictable.
Yeah. And I'm falling head over heels for it. I love it. And because like it's so interesting because there was fights for about, I'd say like 4 minutes all in all, like together. Yet this is one of my favorite episodes. Like just about how many turns it took, what routes we went down, and like what ended up happening. I also love the style of it and the comedy. It was great.
I don't really know what the definition of fan service is, actually. But when I think of that term, I think of characters that have no business being scantily clad, and maybe are too young to be dressed as provocatively as they are. Or it's cold out, why are you in a bikini? I think of maybe that as fan service, and I think of this more as, it just feels more just like real. Like these are
that's
women,
such a fucking good
and
point.
They're sensual, and they're maybe realistic. The only issue I have is if Denji is in fact a teenager and he does not know exactly how old he is. Fair point, he does not know how old he is. He could be 16, and that is the only place that they get me a little bit like, ooh.
I think the idea of what the definition of fan service is really interesting, because I don't have the definition in front of me, but this feels so much different than fan service because
of what I think of when I hear that word, which I don't know the real definition.
In my mind, when I think of fan service, I think of like unnecessary nudity or unnecessary focus on nudity. But this, there's like literal narrative purpose for why I know how Denji thinks when Kobeni's, or when Himeno's boob touches up against him. I'm like, oh my god, I know exactly how he's feeling right now.
Also, the bras aren't like lacy or too small. No. They look like, like, I don't know, there's just something about it that just feels more realistic to like, this is a real person.
But it's refreshing, right?
And if they had just came home from work and, they're not in like lacy tiny, okay. Obviously, I am not accustomed to talking about these sort of things on the channel.
It's different.
It's different, and so if we seem nervous, that is why we don't normally.
It's more of a realistic approach to more revealing things rather than making it more revealing and then putting the main focus on that, because that's what they choose to do.
Right, like I just feel like Himeno seems like a maybe mid-20-year-old, normal, sensual, especially when drunk person. And apparently she's kissed everyone in there, especially when she's drunk. She's really friendly. And I also feel like a lot of this specific interaction might be connected to her emotional state, which I believe is actually very fragile.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
she definitely puts on, and
I agree.
deep down, she is heartbroken that all of these really good people, these serious, dedicated, smart people get annihilated in this job.
Yeah.
And she is terrified that this is going to happen to another person that she is getting attached to, that she wants to protect. And so obviously her attention is going to be toward Denji, because now she sees Denji as someone who could save Aki's life.
Yeah. I would love to talk to you about the Aki relationship with Himeno. Like, I think that I'd like to know your take on Himeno's feelings about Aki, and if it's a sense of family or if it's a sense of romanticism.
Okay, yeah, I'm torn between those two. I'm glad you said that, because she purposefully attaches Denji and Aki having a crush on Makima as her being like, oh, why do you both, you know? You're both into Makima.
Well, do you think that she was trying to be like, to put herself as the better option in saying that to Denji? Because I don't know if she was even. I think, like, she was just kind of saying it. Like,
right, it could, I mean, she's also drunk.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
she could be saying things or emotional about things that are subconscious,
Yeah.
that if she was sober, she might not even be aware that she thinks or feels.
Yeah.
Or she could just be saying things that she's noticing and it doesn't actually truly mean anything to her. I mean, it could be more just a jealousy over Makima and not a jealousy over I wanted either of these two guys to like me.
Yeah.
It could be a why does everyone like her and not me, and it's not specific.
I mean, it could just be a general distaste towards Makima because she works for the public safety and that's the place that she wanted to get
She
Aki
wants
out
to
of.
leave. And yeah,
Yeah.
we learned in this episode that Himeno would have left if Aki had agreed to go with her.
Crazy.
And she also, I think, doesn't understand, which I think we learned in this episode, why she, especially why she doesn't understand the reason either of these two characters would like Makima so much. Because we learned that this is the first time some of those people have even seen her in real life.
That was a big shock to me. But I like, with everything language-wise we have been given, it all makes sense now. With like however Aki has talked about her and how there always seemed like Aki's been in a position of leadership and power. So to fit that in with their lack of interaction with Makima makes a lot of sense to me. You know?
It makes me wonder why Aki has been given this relationship. This he drives her around. We've seen him have multiple meetings with her directly, like the two of them. It makes me wonder why he gets possible special treatment from her compared to the other employees that all lead their own divisions. Like, this was a dinner with people that have, some of them even have a fiend in their division. But she's meeting with him directly.
It could go hand in hand with strength. I mean, think about everything she's already done for Denji that she hasn't done for Aki. Like, in a physical sense, you know? Like, Aki seemed pretty surprised when Denji first brought up the idea of any physical interaction with Makima.
But he's also, I feel like he's also using it.
Oh, yeah.
To his advantage, that he knows that Makima has a special interest in Denji. He's using it to get questions he wants answered. He's using it to have her be around more.
Yeah.
I think I mean, if you have a crush on someone and you like them and you want to be around them, then you'd probably take an opportunity to be around them, even if it meant that they were interested in being around someone else with
perhaps.
you. You might take that, especially if you wanted to prove yourself to them. But it seems more like he is treating it job-wise.
Well, yeah, I think...
And not romantically important to him.
I think that it's really interesting to, like, Aki's very curious as to what Denji's deal is. And the curiosity
I said rightfully so.
Yeah, and I think the curiosity itself says a lot about, like, Aki as a character. But what is it? Like, what's the deal? Was Pochita part Gun Devil? Did Pochita have a piece of the Gun Devil? Was that why Pochita was injured? Like, and that has enhanced Denji? Or is it because Denji is the first person who has ever existed like him? And that's like a mass feeling that all these devils have gotten.
Would he inherently be a threat to other devils if he exists in this way?
Maybe.
I mean, this goes against... You could always see it as like a Romeo and Juliet situation. Like, it's going to make the devils unhappy, and it's going to make the humans unhappy.
Yeah.
That something like Denji exists. Like, that's a possibility. Because if you think about a fiend, like a true fiend, they took over a corpse. They didn't give their power over to the corpse. They took over a corpse. And that is different.
I can't tell, like, okay, so... we have obviously the Way of Fiends, like you just said. We have the contracts, and contracts are incredibly important and serious. And if you're a devil or a human and you go back on your contract, you could die.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's this give and take. But with Pochita, it kind of was a give and take in the sense that Pochita gave its life for Denji.
A dream.
But would you say that it was a contract, though, or something deeper? Like, it was, like, another level of love and giving with nothing expected in return?
So, if you break it down and you're like, you fail out of contract, you die.
Mm-hmm.
Pochita gave Pochita's heart, basically, to Denji. And that keeps him alive. So, is that the difference? That Pochita gave the heart in order to see Denji live and fulfill his dreams.
Yeah.
So Pochita's not going to take away that if Denji doesn't get to his dreams. It's not a contract. It's you make me proud. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, love. It's a love letter.
It's a gift.
It's a gift. It's a love letter. It's not a contract because Denji really didn't have to give anything. If anything, Denji lost something while gaining something.
Or, in a joking way, it is a contract and perma-locks Denji into the narrative position of being able to always win every fight because he is legally life obligated to a devil that he needs to survive long enough to live out this best life. Like, he can't die, until then. Like, I don't know, but it's obviously different, right? We've been told that from the beginning.
But no one, even in the universe, understands how different it is except for Makima. Like, he's sitting at that table, and all of those people still think he must have a contract.
Yeah. And there is a very, very, very real situation where Denji is not at all connected to the Gun Devil, and they're just interested in him because of the potential of strength and how this hasn't happened before, you know?
Right.
Like, I think my go-to is trying to find a connection. Like with Pochita, the Chainsaw, the Gun Devil, why the Gun Devil's like things are popping up more recently, but it could be to try to take care of a threat, you know, and the potential of a threat.
And you see someone who should not have lived.
Yeah.
And maybe Makima is the one that also tells people and trains people to have a screw loose in order to fight devils. And she might have just seen this as the perfect opportunity. But also, I like to imagine that every single weapon devil all looks like Pochita, but with their weapon in their head instead. And that's how they're related to the Gun Devil.
That'd be nice.
That's
like
like
that.
just like in my head, that's what I imagine. It's like every type of weapon you can think of.
I like
They
it.
look the same. It's like they're all like brothers.
Like
Brothers
a family.
and sisters. Yeah, they're all family.
Or they're all animals too, like just like Pochita. Get really close. Do you think that Aki's head's on straight? You remember how we had the whole like conversation about screws loose,
that's
head
kind
on
of
screw.
what the debate I feel like for Himeno is in this episode, is we see her say that she thinks anyone that goes after the Gun Devil has a screw loose. But then we also hear her at the end saying that he's the same as all of those other people that she's lost, all those other partners. And even herself, she's told herself that she's too wound up tight. She's not like unscrewing all of her screws daily. So I feel like they need to latch on to someone like Denji.
I don't know. I can't tell if Aki is like, it could easily be he's calculated, but I think there could be a little bit of crazy screw loose because like you have to be a little crazy to calculate your life to this degree and motivate your life to one mission at any cost. Like, and he's being so meticulous about it. When to use this sword that takes a toll on him, potentially takes his life, or like
That's
cuts his
crazy.
house. Yeah, that's
But
nuts.
also, he's willing to work with Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
He's willing to work with Denji, live with Denji, and keep Denji alive for his goal. He's like, and Himeno was willing to sacrifice Denji and not let Aki use the sword because the screws are not loose
Yeah.
there.
I
And so I think it is, I think Aki is a little bit
I mean,
unhinged.
they said it that most of the hunters there, right, are hunters because of the Gun Devil. And I understand that people would be doing it with the same motive
Like a
as
vendetta.
Aki. But Aki might have this different intensity of how far he is willing to go for this, you know?
Right, the one guy, the master, Himeno's master, brought up that all of these people, all of these devil hunters at the end of the day are still fearful
Yeah.
of the devils. And I don't know how they're going to take Aki's character in how he would actually feel if standing in front of the Gun Devil.
Yeah.
I'm not, would he need a push forward? Would he need to see Denji in action in order to fight? Or would he be immediately ready to face him without fear? And I don't think that we could answer that question yet for his character.
That's a good question because like in my heart answer is he would act cool, be like, I'm going to take you down now and die. But with how calculated we've seen him and how much like, how serious he's taking the mission, I think that he puts actually killing the Gun Devil over being another person dead over killing it. And because of that, I could see him like being very strategic about when you should like avoid getting close if he so happened to, if he wasn't strong enough.
The most scared he seemed since we've met him and the most outward emotional we've seen him is not upon facing the terrifyingness of that Eternity Devil, but upon facing the fact that everyone was about to kill something that he viewed as important to him and his mission. And that means he's willing to do he was willing to put himself in front of a kitchen knife, a terrifying Kobeni with a kitchen knife, in order to protect. That shows some crazy.
Yeah.
Because I even said this to you, like, after watching that scene, I was like, Denji would have lived through being stabbed like that.
Yeah.
He loses blood like crazy fighting the devils.
If he got blood, you know, I think he would have been, but it's pretty confirmed he'd be fine. He gets
But
strong
Aki
with blood.
still jumped in front of him, and it was almost to make a point.
Yeah, or like
a
don't
point
touch.
that,
Yeah.
like, don't touch him. Don't
under
fuck
my
with him.
watch.
He's
This-
important
yeah.
to me.
Man, that fight and like the realization that they spent 3 days in there and this devil was begging for like just death. Mercy kill me. Like,
Mercy
and
kill.
Denji was like, it's just like I'm swimming around, bro.
Sit in a little pool. I'm
Yeah.
having some fun.
I was, he was like, I'm at Six Flags. Like, I don't know, man. That was nuts. It's so interesting to see Denji as a character because I don't understand him. I'm like, I can act like I do. I can say that I do, but I don't. And that's so refreshing because sometimes in anime, 7 episodes in, you understand, you can guess what the character's going to do or not.
You can guess what they're going to do. And I think that while Denji and while Power are both very simple, they are both impossible to predict.
I don't do you think he's even going to do it? Like, do you want to do it at the end? I can convince myself that he would and he wouldn't.
That Aki would and wouldn't?
No,
Or
that
the
Denji
Denji.
would or wouldn't at the end of the episode. Is he going to go through with it?
Oh, okay.
Like, because on one hand, I can imagine him being like, I want to save my first time for Makima. But on the other hand, being like, Makima's not here. She won't know. I'm going to fucking do this right now, you know?
Oh, for like what he's going to do here at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, this is just a little prediction I'm going to put out there. I feel like either Aki or Makima are going to show up. And or Himeno is going to stop or go to sleep or fall asleep. couldn't you just see her falling asleep and start snoring like right now?
Oh yeah, I totally could. But just the idea that I can't tell what Denji's
Yeah.
decision would be just goes to show how little how unpredictable the character is in a refreshing way.
He's very driven
Yeah.
by things.
We got a line that was pretty great, and I think that like if we just take it flat out, answer what like the reason that Denji's a target is that devils are afraid of what they can't understand.
Right.
And if this is the first time anything ever like this has happened with Denji and Pochita, then of course they'd be terrified of it and try to kill it and run away and, get it dead.
Right. And we've talked about before, is the Gun Devil working behind the scenes, or is someone using the Gun Devil for a certain desired effect?
Or is the Gun Devil like Denji? Like in a similar sense?
I mean, would the Gun Devil be giving parts of its flesh to a bunch of devils that are coming to attack and try to kill Denji?
I don't know.
If it liked Denji?
No, if it liked Denji, if it was like Denji.
Oh, was like, I heard, sorry.
No worries. Sometimes it's hard to hear each other with like the delay. But no, I think that's a really interesting moment. The whole thought that Makima was leaving to go get reinforcements to come back because of the rise recently, I thought was an interesting bit that we might see down the road as a later plot point.
This little time skip that we had in this episode, I think I was cool with it. In the first 5 seconds of it, I was like, wait, how do I feel about this, like, this transition that has happened here? But I think it felt kind of just like we zoomed out a little bit and then zoomed back in on the timeline. And I honestly, I don't know if you have it written down, but I definitely liked what we got from Arai's character in this episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did too. I didn't write too much of it down, like, because it was happening so fast, but I agree. Arai's character was awesome, and I love the fact that he was the one with Denji. I least expected that.
When the transition happened, we got told by Himeno that Kobeni and Arai were not only thinking of leaving because they were scared, but they felt bad.
Well, I think it goes to show like the human nature of it, right? And some people have their screws loose. I think the people who in a way who acted that extreme might be the ones who'd be classified as people with their screws in.
Maybe.
Like your life or death situation, you can say how you'd act all you want, but once you're there, you don't know how you're going to act. And even though that you acted that way doesn't make you human, like you'd be embarrassed about it or feel horrible about it.
Like, yes, to us, Kobeni seemed crazy and unhinged.
Yeah.
But not in the way that they're saying you need to be. Like, crazy and unhinged in the way that you don't just feed into your fear of the devil and your fear of being stuck there and go for what the devil's asking for. I don't think a crazy person, like an actually unhinged, screws loose person that they are saying you need to be in this show would offer up exactly what the devil wants.
But again, like, it's these people who have the knowledge in their world that the devil can't lie to them, right? The devil they're up against, if they say, feed me Denji and I'll let you go, that's binding, you know? Like, if they tried to go back on that, the Eternity Devil, it would have died. There's consequence to breaking a contract in this show, you know? So, like, I don't even know how I'd feel if I was in the moment and, like, there. Because, like, that's a guaranteed save, right? Like,
yeah, but isn't that a non-screws loose thing?
Exactly. Yeah. I really need to point out my favorite moment of the entire episode, which was the ghost hand reaching down and starting the chainsaw. It up. Yeah. Oh my God. It was amazing. It was so good. Himeno, I thought...
She was doing it as if, like, it's funny because it's obvious that it does whatever her hand does a little bit.
Yeah.
And it almost felt like she was, like, playing, like, is it Jenga that's, like, the bricks and you have to kind of try to, like...
Yeah. Like, be really,
take
like...
one out really carefully. And she was kind of, like, as if she was really trying to be, like, a surgeon to, like, get it.
So cool.
Like, she's at a claw
like
machine
a marionette
or something.
or, like I don't know. Like
gruesome claw machine.
playing Operation Claw Machine's a good one though. That's literally picky. Yeah.
I mean, a claw machine is also has the realistic disappointment of it never working out that she probably was facing, that like scary feeling.
She was
that you feel
blushing.
when you play a claw machine.
During that whole thing, she was blushing, and I was like, "Whoa, what's going on right now?" That whole scene was so freaking cool. I definitely need to meet Fushi's Fiend at some point and see how.
Right.
My mind defaults to just crazy want to kill people, and it's like you just let like Tasmanian Devil, like you just let it out of the box and it goes crazy.
So he said it's not as reasonable as Aki's Fiend.
Yeah.
So this is all the 4th division, I think. I think I might have thought they were different division heads, but I think these were all the 4th division because of what Himeno and Aki were saying about trying, now that the 4th division is all together.
I think it makes more sense with the introductions going
Yes.
around with the rookies.
And they would all have their own partners and
Yeah.
their own contracts. So I don't know, like it's like not as reasonable as Power, but I also got the vibe that it doesn't maybe blend in as well as Power might.
Which makes me like excited to one, see it, but two, like it kind of implies that we're going to see more of just Denji and Power, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're getting these two-person teams going out.
Right.
And that's a dynamic I love.
I do like
I think
Denji and Power.
Power
dynamic.
might be a little like upset with Denji because he did say that he was going to be the one to get the Nobel Prize first or
Right.
next.
But I don't think either of them got it by the end of the episode. So I'm sure they're both
Denji
upset.
arguably got something better, but arguably.
He got a big piece.
Yeah.
Because we saw later on in the episode that they were even hunting after these tiny little slivers. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Do you have like a gold dust pan and
Yeah.
you're like mining for gold and you're like okay with these tiny little slivers?
How cool is it that multiple characters that we know have a contract with the Fox Devil?
And she or I don't know the Fox Devil's pronouns,
Me either.
but the Fox Devil only presents their head in battle
For cute people.
for
Cuties.
cute guys
I love it.
mainly.
I love it.
Sorry, Arai. Well, we don't even know. I feel like it was a slight there. I feel like them adding that little bit about how Aki, like with the head, like showing the fox's head,
Yeah.
was a slight against Arai for a little bit. I
Yeah.
feel like the timing there, I was like, oh, so Arai's not cute enough. Okay.
Some devils are just down bad. I love that. That was amazing. So like last thing I want to touch on is I've never seen so much puke in anything. I don't do well with that stuff. I don't
I
want to
don't
click
do well
back
with
on
the
it.
sound. The sound
Yeah.
of someone puking, I'm like,
I think I can't tell if it helped me that it censored it or if it made it worse. I don't think but it's interesting because like they didn't just do it to do it in a really weird way, and like it happened narratively, and then it kind of made me sad because I thought that they might have gone in the direction with like Denji's not used to eating anything. He would even do this and like show me a memory of when he had to do this thing. But then they showed me a memory of him being like, "Oh, I'm never doing that."
I would never stoop so low as to
And he had to.
puke.
Oh
And
man.
I love that Power, as soon as it happened, was like, he's gonna swallow it. And I feel like everyone else in the room was like, no way. And she was like, he's gonna.
I just couldn't believe that happened. And the fact that I think the thing that made it the best thing in the world is how they brought it back in the outro and had like the rainbow. Like how is the best outro
It was so
of
funny.
2022 going to have like half of it be puking? That like it's crazy. I don't know. That's all I have. You good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.